Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager for Bona US.
And I'm Rob Johnson. I'm going to try not to interrupt Wayne too many times on this show. From Bona Training.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Very nice of you to be considerate of my feelings.
I know what kind of a snowflake you are, so I don't want to upset you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
Afraid to talk.
You just interrupted me.
Was it me or you?
No, I got the first word out and you said afraid to talk. Yeah.
All right. Well, go ahead. I just want to give you
Wow, that is painful. Yeah, I don't want that to happen to me again. So what are we going to talk about today, buddy?
Rob, I was in Nashville the other day and I filled up my truck and it was $99.40. You know what it used to cost me?
Oh,
I filled it up for $58 and some change.
wow.
That's sickening.
That's I personally, I'm not an economist, so I don't know much.
Shocked.
Yeah, exactly. But I gotta feel the price of gas affects everything. Food, clothes, everything. Floor sanding.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt it does. Can you imagine having not alone just one van on the road, but if you had two vans and three vans or four vans or five vans or more on the road, what it just did to your business?
No.
It's crazy. Now I'm afraid you're afraid. Now I think you're afraid to talk, and I feel bad now.
No, because what I was staring at there was, as you were counting, the first thing that went through my head got to 6 on one, and I thought, geez, I wonder how high he's going to count.
Where's he going to stop?
If you have 14 vans or 15 vans,
Yeah.
I was just wondering where you were going to stop. That's all.
Like,
so that's why it wasn't that I was waiting to interrupt you. I was just trying to figure out, where's that boy going to stop?
It's like when my mother-in-law turned 90 years old and we had a cake for her and we sang happy birthday. And then when it was over, we said, "Are you one? Are you two? Are you three?" Could go on for a long time.
It could be here for a while, right?
I figured, Rob, we would talk about some ways you can combat rising gas prices. I'm going to give you one right off the bat that my brothers did. I talked to my brother John, and in California they have a storage facility that they for overflow stuff for that for install or whatever, and it was very handy at one time. And I remember back in the day when it was like $340 a month. Okay, it wasn't that long ago either, and which made sense. Just it was close to the shop. It was not too far. It was a nice overflow, and they just sent him a bill. The price had gone up to $900 for this. I want maybe 10 by 20 or 15 by 20 or something like that.
Oh man!
So $900 a month. So he started thinking about this, and he goes, "You know what? You add up all that we have in that shop that we need and we use it for. After a very short period of time, it doesn't make any sense." So they got rid of that. So that saved them $900 a month. That's a big savings.
That's 10 grand a year.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah, and, not to do simple math.
Yeah.
Counting to six trucks, 7 trucks, 8 trucks.
And you said you're not an economist.
I'm not an economist, but I pretend to be one on TV. But that's still 10 grand a year, man. That's $10,000. That's wild.
A lot of money. So you know what he did too? He boxed all kinds of flooring up, leftover for projects. He had stain and finishes in there, whatever. And he drove it to San Leandro High School and gave it to the shop teacher. And the guy was overjoyed. And he wants John to come back and show the students on how to make a hardwood floor out of the scraps and everything. So very good use of the product and getting rid of $900. And that was based off if the price hadn't gone up what it had, it wouldn't he wouldn't have done it. But when you started adding things up, there's a way you could just knock 10 grand off your expenses in a year. So,
I know the show isn't about that, but I think that's one of the best things I've heard in a long time about going into the shop class. It was a high school, correct? Trade
hmm
school.
yep,
And now the teacher wants them to come back and show these kids how to.
yeah,
He could wind up getting an employee or two out of this.
absolutely, absolutely,
I mean, some kid could just go, wow.
yep,
And that's and I've been talking about that in a lot of our trainings because that always comes up in almost every floor man conversation you have, whether you're at a convention or a training or whatever. Where are we getting the new kids? Where are we getting the new help? It's harder and harder to find. That, to me, that could be the key.
yeah,
That could
yep,
absolutely be the key, is heading to the trade schools, talking to the teachers there, maybe pointing out a couple of kids, but this could even be better where he's going to go in and actually, show them how to do it.
yeah. So that's one way to combat the rising cost of gas. So well, let's talk about some other ones for a small business that you could maybe uh, cut back so you don't feel that bite because it, like you said, it affects everything. I really feel I've always felt a great deal of empathy with people because I remember back when I was in high school and I had no money. You're a kid, you got no money, and
I was the richest kid in
uh,
town.
yeah, I know you had it going on, but
I was the richest kid in town, man. I don't know where it had, but I'm not anymore. But at the time,
yeah,
me and my buddies working for my dad, we were banking some money. We were the in crowd, man. We had it going on.
nice,
Cars, 8-track cassettes, mag wheels, hood scoops,
yeah.
beer parties. Yeah, we were.
I was the other side of that coin. I had absolutely nothing going on. I told you my car cost $75, which I didn't have, so I had to pay off stripping tobacco, and it was a piece of junk. But the gas gauge didn't work. So when the gas gauge didn't work, and you didn't make much money, you were always everywhere you went was stress. You know what I mean? I didn't know how much if I was going to run out of gas, I was going to make it home, which happened quite often, running out of gas. Thinking that, maybe rocking the car back and forth and put your ear to it to see, putting a stick down there to see how much gas is still in the thing. So I have a great deal of empathy when I see someone broke down on the side of the road.
That ever happened to you, Wayne?
Broke down on the side of the road?
No, no, no. I'm trying to lead into one of my favorite Wayne Highlander stories. I'm leading into this story because I've heard other people tell this story.
Oh, running on the gas.
Running out of
Yeah,
gas. So
yeah,
Wayne,
yeah.
have you ever run out of gas with like an important person in the car?
I don't know if I told the story or not. I may have told the story. I hope I didn't. So I
I
will.
don't care if you did. This is worth hearing again. It's I think remember we talked about we're going to start reminding each other, oh, if we heard that story, and
Yeah,
didn't we say we give each other a 6-month grace period? If it hasn't been said in 6 months,
yeah.
we
All
let
right.
it go. We're making new rules for the show, everybody.
I don't think I told this story, but I'm gonna. So I'll tell it. Um, I think I was 3 months working for Bona. I had, was a contractor, and my whole life I drove the van. We all drive the work van, right? And so my wife had bought a new car, a new Nissan Juke. As I, yeah, it's a long story. I hated the car from the get go, but the director of sales at the time, I think for Bona, was traveling with me for 3 days, and that's a stressful situation. I'm new at the company, I'm new in the position. He's coming out to travel with you. You're going to meet your distributors, and it's a lot of stress. And so I asked Judy if I could use her car because I certainly didn't want him to have to drive around in my work van with me. So especially this condition it was in. So yeah, she said yeah, sure, take the car. So the first day goes great. We meet the distributors. Everything's going really good. Nothing out of the ordinary. Second day went really good. meeting the distributors and going out and having our meetings and stuff. Third day, all I had to do was take them to the airport. And we're going across the Bay Bridge around 10 o'clock in the morning. So it wasn't quite rush hour traffic, but it was packed. And we're going across the bridge. I got to get him to San Francisco Airport. We're having a nice conversation. And all of a sudden, the car hesitated. Boom. He looked at me and he says, "What, are you out of gas?" I looked at my gas gauge, was buried past E, and I couldn't even form the words, "We're out of gas." I was so mortified. We're in the middle lane of I think there's like 8 lanes going across that bridge. So now I had to get all the way to the far right, an emergency situation type of deal. And, cars are honking at me. I got flipped off by some lady. So we get on the side of the road, we're sitting there. And silence had never been so horrendous as the silence that the first 30 seconds of sitting there with him on that bridge, the director of sales going to catch his plane at the airport, and we're completely out of gas.
The boss of all Bona bosses,
The Don.
the man, Tom McNeil, Mac Daddy of them all.
It don't get no higher up the chain.
It doesn't get any higher unless you're speaking with a Swedish accent and you run out of gas with that guy.
So first I blame Nissan. Then I floated it out there that someone must have siphoned my gas the night before. And then I blamed my wife. I would have jumped off that bridge. I was absolutely mortified. But as it turns out, the best place to run out of gas in the California is on the Bay Bridge. They can't have the bridge blocked up. So they guess the cameras, they immediately send a tow truck out there. And they give you a gallon of gas and push you across the bridge. First of all, they push you across the bridge, and then they give you a gallon of gas, and So he made it to the airport on time, which is why I probably still have a job.
Oh my gosh, there are just so many bad parts of that story. Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, you're right. It's not, and the worst part is you were driving him to the airport. He's got to catch a flight. And he's thinking, the guy who's driving me to the airport, who's going to represent our company,
Yeah,
has run out of gas.
Yeah. I think that gas tank holds like 12 gallons of gas. I still, to this day, that's a piece of junk car with the smallest gas tank I've ever seen in my life. Okay, Rob, I only asked you to do one thing. Is when I said I have a great deal of empathy for someone that's broken down on the side of the road. What were you supposed to say?
I forget.
Do you ever stop and help?
Okay. I know how to do it. I got it.
Okay.
All right. So you're sitting on the side of the road with the boss of bosses of Bona. Did anybody ever stop and try to help, or?
I'm going to punch you in your face in a minute. No, that's not the thing. I said.
You're angry today, huh?
No, I'm not. Listen, I told you I have a great deal of empathy when a breaks down on the side of the road.
Yes.
Which was your cue to say, if you see someone broken down on the side of the road, that means you stop and help them.
No, I was going that route. That's what I was saying.
No, there was no other route to go.
Do you ever stop and help?
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to say no, and here's why.
When were you going to get to that?
You were threatening me. Somebody saved this.
Look, I'm being as patient and kind as I possibly can. I simply asked you one thing. I said, after I say, when I run out of gas as a kid, actually, before that, I said, when I was a kid, I didn't have anything. And right away you said, oh, I had everything. I had mag wheels. I was in the middle of telling a story. And then you just interrupted me for your story. And then when I get back to my story, you didn't even ask the thing that I asked you to do.
I thought you were done talking about how poor you were as a kid. How many times?
I hadn't even said that yet.
How many times we got to hear that too? We know you were poor. Everybody knows you were poor. We're all really happy for you.
Oh my God. All right, let's do this. let's go back to I said, if you can rewind it, Chris, back to where I said, when I see someone broke down on the side of the road, I have a great deal of empathy for them. If at that point you could just simply say, when you see someone broke down on the side of the road, do you ever stop for them and help? You think you can do that?
Oh, I'm gonna do it, baby.
It's so simple.
Are you froze or what's up?
No, I'm waiting for you to say. So when you see somebody broke down on the side of the road, lovingly,
I thought you were gonna say the whole sentence again.
I already said the sentence. Okay, I'll start it again. I'll start it again. For that reason, when when I have a great deal of empathy for when I see someone broke down on the side of the road in a car.
Yes.
You idiot. All right, here we go again.
Okay.
3 hours later.
For that reason, whenever I see someone broke down on the side of the road with a broken down car, I have a great deal of empathy for them.
Do you ever stop and help?
No.
That's it. Are you kidding me?
That's it.
That's why you. Oh my God.
See, it's only a big deal because you made it a big deal. It was so simple for you. Look what you did. You made it into a big deal. So, a few other ways that you can combat the rising gas prices. I used to laugh at old folks that would cheap out, looking for bargains all the time, and saving coupons and all that type of stuff. But I have to tell you, yeah, you can get gas apps like Cheap Gas or Gas Buddy, or AAA has a smartphone app to find it adds up over a month's time, and especially if it's more than one vehicle. So that's not a bad way to kind of combat these prices.
I like what your brothers did. Maybe it's a time to look at different things like that. Like, there's this new app out there that will cancel, what do they call those? Streaming services and things like that. Things that you're paying for, you don't even know you're paying for half of the
Oh
time.
man.
Right? So maybe this is a good time to take a look at what you're spending in advertising and where that's going. Do you really need it? Do you really need, if you're spending a lot on advertising, things like that? Do you have to go there?
I This one article I read named 6 things that people do that causes them to have financial problems. And one of them is not canceling apps that they never use, that they don't use anymore, services that they paid for. I got one that comes every week for every month for $50. I don't even know what the hell it is anymore. And and my wife goes, what is this? I go, I don't know what it is. I thought it was I don't know what it is. So she goes, well, I'll cancel it then. So I mean, you start adding up these things and these sneaky little charges that you don't use anymore. Holy smokes, they can seriously add up. That's a good call, Rob. That's why I gave you a. See, I reward you when you do good things.
That's why we hear that bell maybe 2, 3 times a year.
Yeah, well, appropriate.
Oh boy. I've always wanted to charge for my estimates. I've always wanted to charge for an estimate. I mean, and if I get the job, then of course I'll give you double what I charge you for the estimate off of your price. But I've always wanted to charge for an estimate, and I think now is definitely the time to maybe throw that in, just because, like you said, the price of gas is almost doubled.
Well, I'm wondering if you can like do a surcharge for jobs that are more than, say, I don't know, depending on your area, like 15 miles. 15 miles in some area won't be anything. 15 miles in another area because of traffic can be a great deal. So to your point, and I'm wondering if that's something has to be considered now. So I'm kind of in that same vein as you.
You have to.
Yeah. Another thing you can do is I think it's a good time to look at products, and how much you're paying for products. If you look at the stain costs, for instance, of what it costs you to stain a floor, I tell you what, it's never been a better time to look at bonus stains.
Wow, that price is that is really going to be a savings cost compared to what people are paying for stains out there.
Yep. I think switching to water. I've said many times, and I know I've repeated this, but it bears repeating again. If you're working 50 weeks a year, and on every job it saves you a trip to the job because you can put maybe two coats on in the same day, that's 50 trips a year. Um, you probably you're probably not going to get away with anything less than a half a day if you're going out to coat a floor. I mean, time travel back and forth plus prep work and whatever. I would think that would be a significant price savings over the year's time.
Talking to a lot of the guys around New York Metro, especially when I was, doing and still working bonus sport. That's how I got a lot of guys to just take a look at water-based finish because sport was always such a heavy oil field. But man, when you send a guy, if your company's out of Brooklyn and you send a guy into Manhattan to look at a gym and it's not dry, I mean, he's just wasted his. At least you've got you like you said, two coats in a day, but at least when you're going back, it's going to be guaranteed dry the next day.
Yeah.
Where with sometimes your polys are not going to be guaranteed dry the next day, and that's a long trip.
I came away with so much respect for the guys that work in New York City. I don't know how they do it. You can talk about traffic and you can say, yeah, it's tough and you can whatever, but until you've been there, oh my gosh, those guys, I just don't know how they do it every day. I made a wrong turn one time, just a simple wrong turn one time in New York, and I think it cost me 40 minutes because I had to go around the entire New York block to get back to there and make the other turn. It is, talk about a challenge.
Brutal.
Um, I'm going to go with adhesive costs. If you look at what you're paying for some adhesives by the square footage, and especially if you look at the features and benefits from them products and do the comparisons, I think you'll find Bona adhesive shines, especially for the value of the product. So, and as they say, if you go cheaper on products, you buy cheap, but you buy it twice a lot of times, right? So I mean, still staying with quality products makes a huge difference.
And this is a time, man. I mean, you got to up your prices. People will never complain about upping your prices now if you haven't upped your prices. And I don't think we're talking gonna anybody listening to the show hasn't upped their prices. But boy, if you haven't upped your prices yet, it's a hell of an excuse to do it without anybody coming down too hard on you.
Well, and it's not even an excuse anymore. It's a necessary. It's survival for your business, and you owe it to yourself and your business. So yeah, no doubt about it. Um, I also think being choosier on your jobs now. Look at jobs that are really much more profitable than others, and you know, I don't think you can afford sometimes now to take a job that it's just not going to be as profitable as whatever, especially if you're booked way out. And so I think you know what jobs you make time on and you make money on versus or it's a good time to look at. All right, where are we making our most profit? Is it the big jobs? Or sometimes maybe it's not the big jobs. Maybe it's the small to medium sized jobs that we make the we to me I had to cut out the small jobs. These smaller jobs where I had to way up my minimum because I started realizing all these smaller jobs that we're doing, there's no money in it, and I just wouldn't take a small job, or else I'd tell them, listen, we don't go by square feet here. This is by the job, and this is what it's going to be, because the amount of labor alone on jobs like that can be a killer. So do I cut out those small jobs now and just focus on the ones that are going to make me money and streamline? It's like basketball. I keep going using the Jason Kidd analogy because I seen him play every game he ever played in high school from his freshman year on, and I seen all the moves he had in high school. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then when he got in college, he kind of streamlined a lot of that. And then I see him in the NBA, he took out all that garbage and just streamlined and even more and got even more fine tuned. And I think with your business too, I think that where am I actually making my profit on? What type of job is it on? And is it on just sand and finish alone? You know what I mean? Especially if I'm a small shop, maybe I don't want to install if I don't have to, because maybe that's not my strong suit, or that's not where I'm making my most profit. Or if it is an area that I'm not making as much profit, well, then I have to revisit those prices. So I think that's all this needs to be considered now in this time.
Well, definitely using R540 is gonna save some callbacks for sure.
So this is one where someone might say, well, it's more expensive than paper. And initially, yeah, it is a little bit more expensive than using paper, but I put this under the callback section. You know what I mean? A callback today with the labor shortage that we have, the tight windows, the expense of the cost of these floors. To me, it's a huge savings in the end. My even living in California, my biggest concern for a callback was always going to be on cupping, because that's a deal breaker. So the 540 to me makes a hell of a lot of sense. And you're standing up, not beating your body up. You're putting on with a roller. You're not on your knees putting down building paper. You don't need to put down building paper. So I 100% agree with that. So there's I think the cost of, as you said, the cost of gas affects everything. Look at inflation is with groceries and everything has gone through the roof and everything. So I think this night, kind of a chance to reset and see where can I say make cut some costs. And I think we touched on several of them that I think would be beneficial. And maybe someone else, other listeners have some ideas as well. But this one's been one that my brother, I was talking to him, and as soon as the gas went up for the last time, he's like, man, I gotta cut back on something. And then he started realizing I don't need this storage like I thought I did. It's just an overflow place for us, and just you can cut it out altogether. So
Yeah, this might be a good time to get some of the listeners to share what they're doing, and then we can share it with
yeah,
the other listeners what they're doing to help combat about the high gas prices, what they're going through.
yeah. I was thinking also, when I used to bid jobs, there was times when and probably everybody's been there, when you're going out to bid a job, and you're thinking to yourself on the way there, I really don't have time to do this job. I can't fit this job in, but I told them I would bid the job, and I want to make sure I don't want to blow it off. I want to be professional and everything. But there's also jobs, I think now, you know, streamlining your business, there's jobs you don't want to do necessarily, or maybe you can, over the phone, you can kind of vet some of these out. That look, this doesn't sound like it's a good fit for us, and without spending the time, energy, and everything that goes into an estimate. So for your own sake, and a lot of guys are just nice guys. Part of the reason for me was I was also a nice guy to a fault sometimes. So I would go out there, and maybe if I didn't even do the job, I could help them or give them advice. You can ring that bell all you want.
You just call yourself a nice guy.
A wonderful, nice guy. Yeah,
You called yourself a nice guy.
very empathetic. Yes.
Boy, oh boy, I'm going to do whatever I can to get the outtakes of this one out to the listeners so they can
Okay.
hear
Yeah.
what you think a nice guy sounds like.
Yeah. You know what? Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah, we
Because
will. We will, buddy boy.
how many times do I need to ask you something before I can't be nice anymore?
Why don't you ask me nicely then?
Okay. All right. Okay. So
He's a
Rob,
nice guy.
hmm I told you I got you an ice cream scoop. That gives me that. Is that what the guy was not nice? Give you an ice cream scooper?
When I get it, I'll believe it. I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay, well that's true.
Probably after the outtakes of this show, I am definitely not getting an ice cream scooper.
I'm going to see if Judy already mailed it because he hasn't already mailed it. I'm not going to say anything. All right, Rob. Well, where you training at this week, Rob?
um, got a couple of crews coming in from Connecticut and taking them down to the Jersey RTC and do a couple days of training. So we're all excited about that.
Wonderful. How's my adhesive manager, Gene Vincent, doing now?
Gene's awesome. He really is. Great guy. The customers love him. He's getting really good with being able to present and talk about and demo and everything with the adhesives.
Good.
I'm going to give him a belt because
Good.
no, he's just one of those guys. It's a pleasure to be around. You know.
Yeah, yeah, he's a class guy. Anybody in the northeast area want to get a hold of our adhesive manager, Gene Vincent? Super good guy, and you reach out to me or Rob, and we'll put you in touch with him. But really good guy. So, all right, there you go, Rob. I appreciate all of your input, and
That's
let's hope that
that's a lie. That's
let's hope they don't play back the outtakes.
yeah. Well, we got to wrap this up because I got to get my call into HR
Yeah, I'm going to call first.
before they go home. Yeah.
I'm going to tell her that you're an incessant liar before you get a chance to. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Rob and I do appreciate it. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.